My initial connection was really through the Friends of the Kaw. I was, first time I got on the Kaw in a canoe was on a Friends of the Kaw float. I think paid $30 to rent a canoe for the trip, and I enjoyed it. And I had some time on my hands. They were looking for board members, and so I volunteered. It was a great decision. Met some really fine people. Well, so I was on the board. That time it was a fairly small board. Dave Murphy and Laura Caldwell and Mike Caldwell, Deb Baker, Lance Burr and Patty. And at that point, a couple of things going on. One was they just created the riverkeeper position, and Dave was the first riverkeeper, and sort of keep an eye out for pollution on the Kansas River, and also promoting greater access. That was before there was a number of ramps on the river, and so I was fortunate to be involved when both of those river keeper kinds of activities were being established and made part of the mission of Friends of the Kaw. As I follow Friends of the River Keeper and Friends of the Kaw on Facebook or Instagram and come to events like this, what's clear is that the education about the Kaw River, the outreach to school kids, to scout troops, to 4-H groups has expanded, phenomenally in the years since I was on the board. They've got a lot more grants. I mean, when I was on the board, we had 1 or 2 grants, and they have a steady stream of funding that comes in from Patagonia and Water One and a number of organizations that have helped fund the education. So it's great to see the outreach to community groups. The other thing that's really expanded exponentially is the number of access points on the Kaw River. I mean, 20 years ago, many times if you wanted to get on the Kaw, you had to find a bridge and sort of haul your canoe around a bridge and to get on the river. But the efforts of Friends of the Kaw and Mike Caldwell as a leader in a partnership with Kansas Department of Wildlife and Parks, partnering with Water One and Evergy, they've got these access points, all along the Kaw. And so that really is one of the biggest changes that's happened. Before I joined the Friends of the Kaw board, my experience with committees and groups of people was in a corporate setting. I'm a retired attorney. It was lawyers and business people, trying to have committee meetings. And joining the Friends of the Kaw board was just radically different. It was really friendly people, open. They wanted to have a good time. It wasn't just getting a job done. It was having a good time while you were doing something that was meaningful. Sitting around a campfire, singing songs, listening to people play a guitar. It was just a good time. Good friendships developed. What I would love to see is more and more people actually getting on the Kaw, in a kayak, on a stand-up paddleboard, in a canoe, and experiencing bald eagles, seeing bald eagles. The first time I remember seeing a bald eagle on the Kansas River was on a Friends of the Kaw float. And over the years, I've seen lots of them. But there are many people who've not seen bald eagles, and so get them on the river, let them see an eagle. Just to wade around in the sand with your feet in the water is a pleasure. I grew up in the Ozarks where it was rocky bottom streams, clear water, and so that was the way I was raised. But there's kids growing up in Kansas, and they can have a good time on the Kansas River and get an experience with wildlife, just getting wet, having a good time paddling. Well, what it means for the river is the river's cleaner now than it was 20 years ago. I mean, there's still the big flush that happens after a thunderstorm and all the, bunch of tertiary streams. There's cattle dung and things that get flushed into the river. But it's a cleaner river now than it was. 20 years ago, they had, I think, more signage about PCBs, below the Bowersock Dam. and I don't think we have to be as concerned about that kind of contamination of the river, because we've got the river keeper and people on the river who are just watching out for, the signs of oily stuff on the river or whatever pollution might be out there. So a cleaner river.